Part 2. You are the giver of the surety. You are not the surety. Speaker Craig Ronald. Key of definitions. With statutory authority. Settler in being. The living one, the giver, the source. To be in being means living, alive, breathing, present. You do not need a document to be the settler. You are the trust in being. You brought the name, the signature, the life into existence. You set the terms. You are the authority above the trust itself. Beneficiary, the true heir, the one the trust exists to serve. Entitled to receive, not to pay. The system tries to bill and tax the beneficiary, but under law, the beneficiary owes nothing. The trustee serves you. You do not serve the trustee. Straw man. The legal fiction, the paper person. Your name in all caps, the registered entity on paper only. It has no life, no breath, no consciousness. It is not you. It was created to be the liability absorber, not you, indemnified, held harmless, protected, covered. The straw man is indemnified. That means all liability was meant to attach to the fiction, not to the settler in being with beneficial interest. They promise to cover the fiction, then they build you. That is the fraud. Trustee slash agent slash liable party. They are liable. They have duties. They are responsible, not you, under their own rules, under their own acts. The trustee slash agent are the liable party, not the beneficiary. Owe duties and obligations to the beneficiary, not the other way around. Must indemnify and protect the beneficiary, not bill them. Cannot transfer their own liability to the one they are supposed to serve. The law says the agent trustee carries the obligation. The law says they answer to you. They created the policy. They indemnified the straw man. Therefore, under their own act, they must satisfy the liability. They cannot turn around and demand payment from the one they swore to protect. In summary, under their own law, settler in being equals you. You gave everything. Beneficiary equals you. You are owed protection. Straw man equals their fiction, their liability. Indemnified equals the fiction is covered. You are not the debtor. Trustee slash agent equals they are liable. They have duties to you. They owe you. You do not owe them. That is the bombshell. Their own act says the trustee agent is the liable party with duties to the beneficiary, and they have been doing the exact opposite. They shifted their own obligation onto the one they are legally bound to serve. That is the fraud written into their own law. Forward. Why this is all one truth. I have put this together by bringing together everything I have shared across all my videos. The system is narcissistic in nature. The natural codes, water, breath, word, and the natural standing handbook. I am doing this because there is no separation between any of them. They are not separate teachings, not separate topics, not separate truths. They are simply different ways of looking at the exact same reality. The way the system twists language is the same way it twists trust. The way it distorts masculine and feminine is the same way it distorts who you are. The way it hides your standing as settler is the same way it hides the power of your word, the flow of water and breath, and the natural order that governs all things. Everything connects. Everything reflects everything else. And until you see how they all fit together, you will only ever see one bar of the cage and never the whole lock. This is what it means to break free, not by picking one piece and fighting over it, but by seeing the whole design, remembering who you are, and stepping out of the illusion entirely. Introduction. All right, let's start right at the very beginning. Because the truth is so simple, they have to make it sound complicated so you never see it. The system we live under is narcissistic in nature. If you want to see exactly how it operates, watch my video titled "The System is Narcissistic in Nature." Everything you have ever been told about who you are and how this world works is backwards. I am not here to sell you anything. I am not here to start a movement. I am not here to give you fancy loopholes. I am here to show you who you really are and how every single part of this connects as one. I am here to teach you. You are not a number. You are not property. You are not the surety. You are the giver of the surety. And that surety is your name and your signature. You are not born owing anyone anything. Most importantly, I am here to show you why the words you speak and believe literally create your reality, because the word is the beginning, and the beginning never stopped. And let me be clear, I hold all relevant legislation to verify and uphold every part of this information. Everything shared here is tested, grounded, and backed by the very law they use against you, only understood for what it truly is. The trap in the freedom movement. This is exactly where so many in the freedom movement have fallen into the very trap they claim to warn you about. They run around telling you, you are a slave. You are the surety. They quote acts like the Crimes Act as if those words make it true, but they do not understand that by speaking those things, they are creating them. They are weaving the veil tighter, locking people into victim consciousness, giving power to the very inversion they say they are fighting. That is not liberation. That is the Antichrist frequency at work, using fear and false identity to keep you bound. It comes from a lack of understanding of who you actually are, and it is fed by the deliberate twisting of the natural order, including the natural balance of masculine and feminine, and the massive unseen role of avoidance. Avoidance, the glue that holds the illusion. Avoidance is one of the strongest pillars of this false reality. People avoid their feelings, avoid their own truth, avoid taking responsibility for their choices. And in that avoidance, they create a hollow space that others are forced to lean into, to carry, and to hold up. It builds a world where no one stands fully in their own place. So everyone leans on everyone else. And the system steps in to fill that gap, to rule over that weakness, and to keep everyone running away from themselves instead of remembering who they are. Avoidance is not peace. It is the glue that holds the illusion together. The inverted balance, masculine and feminine. What we see playing out now is not strength. It is not freedom. It is an unnatural swap, a distortion of the two great forces that were meant to fit together perfectly. We have been taught to trade our true nature for a broken copy. The masculine, its grounding, holding, protective strength has softened into hesitation, deference, and a desperate need to be chosen or approved. The feminine, its deep, nurturing, wise, creative power has hardened into demand, position, and a hunger to be placed above others. We see people orbiting each other like idols, waiting for favor, offering worship instead of respect, one side reaching to rule, the other shrinking to beg, roles being swapped, as if being like the other is the only way to be strong. This is not anyone's fault alone. It is a trap we all walked into together. We all accepted the lie that one must be above and the other below, that one must fight to take what is not theirs, and the other must surrender what is. This is the same inversion that flipped the trust structure. That turned the giver into the debtor, all because we stopped seeing how things naturally fit. Only what is alive has power. Only what is in being, only what is alive has real power. That name written in all caps on your papers, it is not you. It is just a label, a shell, a constructed identity, and it has no power at all until you give it power. When you sign that name, answer to it, agree to things in it, you are giving your consent, your energy, your very life force to make that made-up thing real. Your name and your signature are the actual property and value you hand over. That makes you the settler in being. But understand this clearly. You are not the settler for that blank insurance policy they set up at birth. You are only ever the settler for any constructed trust, any now time contract or agreement you enter right now. There is no binding past agreement, only what you consent to in this moment. Legislation equals terms of the trust. Legislation is merely the terms of each constructed trust. If you say nothing, the arrangement defaults to those written terms. But as the settler in being, you have every right to change those terms to suit you and your beneficial interest, especially if they breach trust, hide information, act without full disclosure. And remember, the terms of the trust never bind you. They only bind the strawman/trustee, indemnified and protected, the liable crown trustee/agent who carries the obligation. You are the one who set it all up. The Trinity, the natural order hidden in plain sight. This is the great inversion they have hidden. The Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, is not a religious doctrine. It is how reality works. Source/the Father equals settler, you, the one who originates all things. The living/the Son equals beneficiary, you, the one who carries life and receives all good. Spirit/the Holy Ghost equals trustee, the flow that carries out will, connects all things. And this is exactly why so many struggle with the word God, even those who have never been religious. That word has been weaponized more than almost anything else. They took something infinite, all permeating within you, and shrank it down into a separate ruler, a judge, someone outside you have to beg, obey, or perform for. They took source, the flow, the breath, the consciousness you are made of, and turned it into something small, distant, and limiting. Even people who never went near a church still carry that programming, the quiet feeling that power is somewhere else, that someone else decides, that you are small and something else is big. It discredits source entirely, because true, source honors free will completely. It never commands, never forces, never judges. It simply is, and lets us create exactly what we choose to create. Humanity has done this to itself, accepted that limiting definition, handed away its own creation power, and let that word be used to build hierarchy, obedience, separation, which is the veil itself. That is why we speak of source, of breath, of the settler, of the flow, because those words point to what is in you, what you are, not something far away on a throne. When you drop that limiting version, you remember there is no ruler over you, only the flow that you are part of. No one to blame, no one to beg, only what we create, together or apart, through our own will, our own words, our own frequency. The inversion, crucifying the Son. This is the whole point of the inversion. Make you think you serve the Creator when you are the Creator in form. That word was their most effective tool to make you forget. Exactly the same way they made you forget you are the settler. Exactly the same way they twisted masculine and feminine. Exactly the same way they fed avoidance. Exactly the same way they told you you are the surety instead of the giver. They used the so-called Sestui que vi trust to indemnify the straw man, the paper name, then turn around and bill the beneficiary, the living you, for damages every time you sign beside the cross, every time you accept their terms, every time you speak of yourself as slave or surety. You are nailing yourself there again. This is why the Antichrist was never something coming later. It has been here the whole time, feeding on our forgetting. They have been crucifying you, the Son. because you forgot you were source, the creator, the settler, water, ether, and consciousness. This is exactly how reality works, written into every part of nature. Water holds memory and consciousness. Around 70% of your body and this realm appears as physical water, but that same substance exists also as ether, as consciousness, as spirit, simply moving at a finer, higher frequency. Ice is still water, just slowed down. Everything solid is simply consciousness, slowed enough to appear as form, because we are all made of this same living substance in all its forms. What shifts in one shifts in all. All life is connected, as the natural codes remind us. YHWH is not an external God. It is the rhythm of your breath. Incoming equals spark. Life released equals flow.
Connecting equals full cycle.
It is spirit in motion, moving through you right now. Breath is spirit. You do not need rituals or payments to connect. Breathe deep, stand with nature, speak truth, and you align instantly. Words create reality. Free will captured. When you speak truth, you build something real that stands firm. When you speak lies, fear, or false identity, you only build loops, confusion, and bondage that goes nowhere. What you send out returns, not as reward or punishment, but as echo. And this is the greatest trick of all. They do not take away your free will. They cannot. Instead, they control what you are shown, what you are taught, what you are told to want, which options are even placed before you through advertising, narrative, education, social pressure, false identity. They build the cage inside your mind. So when you choose, you believe you are choosing freely, but you are only ever choosing from the menu they wrote. You are using your own power, your own consent, your own free will, but you are using it blindly to create exactly what the system wants you to create. The veil is not put over your eyes by someone else. You weave it yourself, thread by thread, every time you accept a lie, every time you agree to separation, every time you run from what is true, every time you call yourself what you are not. No one can dissolve it for you, only you, by turning toward what you avoided, restoring the natural balance within, speaking only what is true. Why does this matter? You might ask, why does all this matter? What changes for me when I know I am the giver of the surety, not the surety? It matters because until you know this, you are living by their rules, inside their cage, and you have been taught to believe you are the debt itself. You are not the debt. You never were. The debt is just words written on paper, built on the lie that you owe something for being alive. You do not need to fight it, argue it, chase it. You simply stop accepting that label as yours. You detach from it because it never belonged to you in the first place. When you truly detach, you find you have choices you never saw before. You can walk away, change course, build what is yours, without carrying something that was never yours to carry, just as I had to let it go when it was letting go of me. So can you. It matters because when you know you are the settler in being, you stop being a victim of the system and become the one who sets the terms. When you understand how words create reality, you stop picking from their menu and start writing your own. When you restore the natural balance within, you stop leaning on others to carry what is yours and stop letting others take what is not theirs. When you know you are made of the same living water, the same consciousness, you stop seeing separation, stop seeing enemies, and stop fighting against the very reality you are part of. Conclusion. This is not just information. This is not just theory. This is the key that turns the lock. The system only has power because you agreed it did. The debt only has hold because you accepted it as yours. The cage only stays shut because you forgot you held the key. Now you know. And understand this clearly. They are not after your money. They are using money to steal your energy. The paper means nothing. The numbers mean nothing. You are the prize. Every moment you spend, stressed, worried, paying, fighting, you are pouring your life force into their system. They don't want your coin. They want your creation. They want you to forget you are the source. They want you to believe you are the debtor. That is the harvest. And the money is just the tool to keep the energy flowing up to them instead of flowing through you in freedom. Now you know you are the giver of the surety, never the surety. Now you know you are the settler, not the subject. Now you know the word creates, the breath sustains, the flow connects all. You do not need to fight the system. You do not need to burn it down. You simply stop agreeing to it. When you stand firm in who you are, the whole illusion loses its fuel, and what is real remains. You are the one who holds the pen. You are the one who decides. Stand in that, and nothing will ever own you again. Related videos, all principles connect directly to you are the giver of the surety. You are not the surety. The system is narcissistic in nature. The natural codes, the cheat codes that let you flow. Water, breath, word, the shift that connects us all. The natural standing handbook. Disclaimer. This is Craig Ronald speaking from what I have lived, tested, and verified. I hold all relevant legislation to uphold this information. This is shared freely. It is not legal advice. You are responsible for your own choices. This applies universally, worldwide. Principles remain the same, even if names of laws differ. Seal 26-118, Craig Ronald.